What is up, everyone? StonePost34 here, bringing you Q&A. I know I said I was going to do it at the beginning of the week, but you guys know how it goes. In real life stuff just gets in the way all the time. Good stuff, though. Nothing major, just work. And yeah, anyway, no big deal. How'd you like that opening nade? Man, I love that C nade. I love getting that side. Although I like to spawn trap the A, so it's kind of a mixed bag. But anyway, let's jump into Q&A. First question comes from Twitter. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. That's the easiest way to talk to me because I have it open all day. I don't really get on YouTube until the evenings to watch. But anyway, first question comes from Deadly B7. He says, why do you always use the AK47? Use a different gun! Exclamation point. And I don't know if how many of my videos you've watched. Yeah, I've been hung up on it lately. I use it a lot lately because I really like it. But I use everything from sniper rifles to AUGs to MPLs, Tomahawks. In fact, maybe I'll leave it a response to this video, like MPL Tomahawk play that I have up. So, but that's a fair question. Yeah, I know you guys want to see different guns. I got to tell you, I'm just kind of in this mode right now. I am ready for Modern Warfare 3. I am so tired of Black Ops. I know I've talked about it before, and I'm not complaining. It's just I play it. I do like playing it, but I need something new. Anyway, enough of that. So, hey, next question comes from. Let me find it here. This. Where did it go? Yeah, this was a cool question. I liked it. This comes from Slant Dude. He sent it via YouTube, and he said, I've been subbed. I'm in high school. He hates it right now. I was told people are nicer compared to middle school, but I don't agree. My question is, where have you personally met some of the greatest friends based off of different time periods of your life? So what he's saying is, you know, from grade school, that period, middle school, high school, college, in your 20s, 30s, which place have you met the friendliest people? Now, for me, it's a little bit different, and I'll tell you why. I moved 11 times, and that includes after college, but 11 times. So in elementary school, let's see, I can back you up here. We moved preschool, I moved first grade, I moved fourth grade, moved seventh grade, moved my senior year in high school. Then I moved a few times after that. So anyway, and actually I moved when I was like 1, so I guess that doesn't really matter. But getting back to your question, that's a fair question. Elementary school, I made some good friends, but the hard part for me was moving so much. And when you're younger, you're kind of ADD. You kind of work with people or play with people. I'm sorry, don't work. You play with people that are near you, neighbors. So those relationships went by the wayside pretty quick after I moved. Now let's get to middle school. I went to a middle school in Kansas and then one in Chicago. And, I had some really good friends in both. And believe it or not, the ones that I went to school with here in Kansas, I actually keep up with. Part of the reason with that is because my grandparents lived in that same town. So we would go back for Thanksgiving or Christmas, or, we spent a week there typically in the summer, or we'd go out to the farm. So there was a bit of a draw back to that area. Now in high school is a tough one for me. If you know, I've talked about it before, I moved my senior year of high school. So when I came back from Chicago to Kansas, that was tough. I moved my senior year, and I told you, they thought I was a cop. They thought I was put in because our school had some drug problems, and I was pretty clean cut, and they called me 5-0. If you're not familiar, that's a cop, slang for a cop. And so I had some issues there, and I was in, we called it advanced placement. I was in several advanced placement courses. So I was a nerd. I hung out with some of the nerds, and actually I took university classes my last semester. So, but those friends, I can say, there are a few people I'm still friends with, but I didn't even really know them at that time because it was a big school. Nice grenade. And so I didn't really know them that well, but here's where it comes down to where I made my best friends, and it was in college, and it continues on. So in college, the guy who was best man at my wedding, I actually went to high school with him, but I didn't know him. I knew of him, but we weren't friends. So that happened, and then right now, I would say some of my closest friends have come from the work world. So I guess my point of all this, after I've taken you through friends, is all the stuff that you get hit with in junior high, you get hit with in high school. The older you get, you're just like, man, what a joke. I mean, it doesn't matter. And I will tell you, there are certain facets of social groups that I know of and that I see, and I don't really hang around a lot, but it feels like junior high and high school. This stuff continues to go on. But the interesting thing, or the most important thing, is the older you get, the more independent you are, you just separate yourself from it. And that's what I do. You know, we call them Westies where I live, because they live on the west side, and that's where all the rich people live, and they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. And you know, I'd rather have my car paid for, which it is, you know, have people paying me rent, which they do, because you know, I'm really into taking care of things financially and not being dependent on having credit card debt or big car loans or big house loan. I want to be able to travel with my family, take care of my family. You know, I save for college. So I separate myself from those groups. And a lot of them are well off, don't get me wrong. But for me to keep up with that group, I would probably have to go into debt, which I'm very debt adverse. So that's a long answer to a really short question. But I really like the question. Maybe that's why I just jumped all over it. So Slant Dude, thank you for that. That was a very, very good question. Now I got to scroll up here on my Twitter. The next question comes from... Let's see. I am Bubs, which you didn't send me. He's the guy from Life's Curveballs, I believe, is what he said. Or he had a follow-up question to that. But his other question, he never sent me the question, so I didn't get it. But his other question, which is kind of an interesting one, and I get this a lot when I travel, and I tell people I'm from Kansas. He said, also kind of a short question, but how do you deal with tornadoes that hit Kansas? Any stories that you got, bro? And as you guys know, Joplin, Missouri is about 3 hours from where I live. That town, or at least parts of that town, just they're gone. They're off the face of the earth, and never to be seen as they were in their form prior to that storm. But back to my I've lived in Kansas a lot, not all my life, but you know, lived in Indiana and Illinois for a bit. But I have been through 2 tornadoes. Now I'm not like saying like they hit my house. Once was when I was in youth group, and we lived in Parsons, Kansas, and we went to youth group. It was just this big metal building, and it wasn't anything crazy, and we knew a storm was coming. We heard the sirens. We didn't have a basement, but it was this metal building with like this white steeple on top, and we went into the kitchen and huddled up near some of the plumbing, because that was the strongest part in the building. Storm was gone, came out, steeple was gone. So there wasn't a whole lot of other damage, and if you know tornadoes, they're real hit and miss. I mean, it's not like a hurricane where it just comes in, you know where it's going to hit, you know which direction it's going to go. Tornadoes can happen like that, and when they happen, it is scary. And I'm 36. I got to tell you, this sounds really weird. I can smell a tornado. And if you guys are from the Midwest, you may know what I'm talking about. How the air, well, you don't have to be from the Midwest. If you're in an area that's tornado prone, the air gets really heavy, the sky turns kind of green, and you just know. My second story is probably the scariest one I had. We just had my daughter. She was 1 year old, and we were down in the basement. We knew a tornado warning was underway. Not a watch, a warning. That means that there is actually a tornado on the ground. We zoom in, or we got the TV on, and we see the local weatherman up in his helicopter, and he's following this tornado, and he said, you know, it's south of where we live. Next thing I know, this tornado comes into the softball diamonds where I play softball, hits those, hits the apartment complex near to that, and was headed our direction. We were about 1.5 miles northeast of that. It was coming out of northeast direction. And tell you what, having a 1 year old and a tornado on the ground headed your way, that's probably as scared as I've ever been. And I wasn't really scared for me. I was scared for my daughter. So guys, hey, if you have more questions, send them. I'd like to do this every week, but take care as always. This is Stone Post 34.